Since childhood, we've been told a story that feels almost impossible to question. Be honest, work hard, treat everyone with kindness, help people whenever you can, and eventually, life will reward you. It sounds comforting, almost sacred. Parents repeat it because they want to protect their children. Teachers repeat it because they believe society depends on it. Movies reinforce it because audiences love justice. The hero suffers, the villain wins for a while, but in the end, goodness triumphs. The problem is that reality rarely follows the script. As we grow older, something unexpected happens. We begin noticing people who lie, getting promoted, people who manipulate, earning admiration, people who betray trust, surrounded by friends. Meanwhile, the quiet person who worked honestly often remains invisible. At first, we assume these are exceptions, a temporary injustice. Surely life will correct itself. Surely karma will catch up. Surely fairness will return. But then it happens again and again, until one day you can no longer ignore what you've been seeing all along. The world isn't organized around morality, it's organized around human nature, and human nature has never been simple. People don't always choose what is right, they choose what benefits them. They choose what protects their image. They choose what gives them status, recognition, influence, power. This realization feels almost like a betrayal, not because the world changed, but because the story you believed about the world begins to collapse. You remember every moment you stayed silent to avoid hurting someone, every opportunity you gave away because you wanted to be fair, every time you forgave someone who never apologized. You believed kindness would inspire kindness. Instead, it often invited exploitation. That realization creates a dangerous question. Was being a good person a mistake? Many people answer that question with bitterness. They decide the only way to survive is to become colder, harder, more selfish. But that reaction creates another illusion. Because goodness was never the problem, naivety was. There is an enormous difference between being compassionate and being unable to protect yourself, between forgiving and allowing people to repeat the same betrayal, between helping and sacrificing your own well-being for people who would never do the same for you. History's greatest philosophers understood this distinction. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by corruption. Socrates lived among people who eventually sentenced him to death. Even they understood that virtue alone could not protect a person from the realities of human behavior. Wisdom had to accompany kindness. Otherwise, kindness became predictable, and predictable people are easy to manipulate. The uncomfortable truth is that manipulators don't spend their lives searching for good people. They simply recognize them. They notice who struggles to say no, who constantly apologizes, who fears disappointing others, who mistakes endless sacrifice for love. To a compassionate person, these behaviors seem noble. To a manipulator, they look like opportunities. Perhaps the greatest misunderstanding about goodness is believing it means never creating conflict, never setting boundaries, never walking away. But kindness without limits slowly transforms into permission. Permission for others to ignore your needs. Permission to disrespect your time. Permission to convince you that your generosity somehow obligates you to accept mistreatment. Eventually, you stop recognizing yourself, not because you're weak, but because you've spent so much time protecting everyone else's peace that you've abandoned your own. And maybe that's the first lesson life tries to teach every genuinely good person. Being kind is beautiful, but kindness without wisdom comes with a price that many people spend years paying before they finally understand why. The greatest advantage a manipulative person has is not intelligence, it is clarity. They understand something that genuinely kind people often refuse to believe. Not everyone values honesty. Not everyone feels guilty. Not everyone sees relationships as something to protect. Some people see them as something to use. That realization feels disturbing because it challenges one of our deepest assumptions. We instinctively believe that others think the way we do. If we wouldn't lie, we assume they won't either. If betrayal would keep us awake at night, we imagine it affects everyone the same way. But human beings don't experience the world through the same moral compass. Each person is guided by different fears, different desires, different ambitions. Some crave peace, others crave admiration, others crave control. And once you understand this, many confusing moments from your life suddenly begin to make sense. You realize that the person who manipulated you wasn't necessarily smarter than you. They simply understood the game you didn't even know you were playing. While you were trying to build trust, they were studying influence. While you believed actions mattered most, they understood that appearances often matter more. This is why confidence is frequently mistaken for competence. The loudest voice in the room is often assumed to be the most knowledgeable. The most charismatic person is usually perceived as the most capable. Not because it's true, but because the human brain loves shortcuts. Psychologists call these mental shortcuts heuristics. They allow us to make quick decisions without analyzing every detail. Most of the time, they're useful, but they also make us vulnerable. We associate expensive clothing with success, popularity with credibility, authority with wisdom, certainty with truth. Manipulative people understand these unconscious patterns remarkably well, sometimes without ever studying psychology. They instinctively know how to project certainty, how to speak with confidence, how to tell people exactly what they want to hear. And the frightening part is that this often works. History is filled with leaders who inspired millions despite lacking integrity, not because people were irrational, but because perception can become stronger than reality. The philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli observed centuries ago that people judge far more with their eyes than with their understanding. Most never look beneath the surface. Most never question the performance. And perhaps that's why appearances have always possessed extraordinary power. But before you conclude that manipulation is the only path to success, consider something equally important. Manipulators often achieve influence. They rarely achieve peace. Every lie demands another lie. Every false image requires constant protection. Every mask eventually becomes a prison. The person who spends years pretending to be someone else eventually forgets who they really are. Meanwhile, the genuinely good person faces a different danger. Not corruption, but exhaustion. They become tired of forgiving, tired of helping, tired of believing the best in people. Eventually, many decide to build walls around their hearts, not because they hate the world, but because the world has disappointed them too many times. This is the moment where countless people lose themselves. Some become exactly like those who once hurt them. Others isolate themselves completely. Both choices are understandable. Neither leads to freedom, because the answer has never been becoming colder. The answer is becoming wiser. Wisdom doesn't ask you to stop believing in goodness. It asks you to stop offering it blindly. It teaches you that trust should be earned, respect should be mutual, and kindness should never require self-destruction. The strongest people are rarely those who trust everyone, nor are they the ones who trust no one. They simply learn to recognize the difference between those who deserve a place in their lives and those who only came to take from them. Once you learn that distinction, everything changes. Not because the world becomes kinder, but because you finally stop expecting it to be something it was never designed to be. There is a moment in life when every genuinely kind person must make a decision. Not between good and evil, but between remaining innocent or becoming wise. At first, those two ideas seem identical. They aren't. Innocence believes everyone deserves unlimited trust. Wisdom understands that trust is one of the most valuable things you can give another human being, and because it is valuable, it must be earned. For years, many people confuse kindness with self-sacrifice. They believe saying yes makes them compassionate, that avoiding conflict makes them mature, that enduring disrespect proves emotional strength. But over time, they begin to notice a painful pattern. The more they ignore their own needs, the more invisible those needs become. People grow accustomed to endless generosity. They stop appreciating it. What was once seen as kindness slowly becomes expectation, and expectations are dangerous. Because once someone expects your time, your patience, your forgiveness, they no longer see them as gifts. They see them as obligations. This is why boundaries are not acts of selfishness. They are acts of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than most. Despite ruling one of history's greatest empires, he never believed that controlling other people would bring peace. Instead, he focused on mastering the only thing truly within his control: his own character. He knew he couldn't stop betrayal. He couldn't eliminate dishonesty. He couldn't force people to become fair. But he could decide whether their behavior would change who he was. That may be the greatest form of freedom any person can achieve. Not controlling the world, but refusing to let the world control your values. Because if another person's actions can turn kindness into hatred or compassion into bitterness, then they still possess power over you. And that is exactly what wisdom seeks to prevent. Many people spend years protecting their reputation. Very few spend time protecting their peace. The ego constantly asks, "How can I prove my worth?" Wisdom asks a different question. Why do I feel the need to prove it at all? The ego wants revenge. Wisdom chooses distance. The ego wants the final word. Wisdom understands that silence often speaks louder than victory. One of the greatest misunderstandings about strength is believing it always looks aggressive. In reality, the strongest people are often the calmest. They don't argue with everyone. They don't chase every opportunity. They don't desperately seek approval, because they understand something most people never learn. Not every battle deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every relationship deserves another chance. Learning to walk away is not weakness. Sometimes it is the highest form of self-respect. This doesn't mean becoming cold. It doesn't mean assuming everyone has bad intentions. It simply means accepting reality without allowing it to destroy your humanity. The world contains extraordinary people, people whose loyalty cannot be bought, people who protect others even when nobody is watching, people who remain honest despite every incentive to lie. But finding those people requires patience, discernment, and above all, the courage to stop chasing those who continuously prove they do not value you. Perhaps goodness was never meant to guarantee success. Perhaps its true purpose was something much deeper, to allow you to live without becoming the very thing that once hurt you. Because manipulation may win moments, deception may win opportunities, power may win attention, but none of those victories can purchase inner peace. Only character can do that. So don't stop being kind. Don't allow disappointment to convince you that compassion is a flaw. Instead, become the kind of person whose kindness is protected by wisdom, whose generosity has boundaries, whose forgiveness has discernment, whose heart remains open but never unguarded. Because the goal was never to become less compassionate. The goal was to become impossible to exploit. And once kindness is guided by wisdom instead of innocence, it stops being your greatest vulnerability. It becomes your greatest strength.